Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Ralph Esparza. I'm coming to you live over here. It is 5:34 on Best Coast time. We have a great conversation that I'm about to have with a good friend of ours. And, we're just kind of shooting the shit. See if we enjoy today. What's up, El Pop? What's up, Alma? What's up? Oh, Alex from Master Sky. I never say her Jim right, so my apologies. Master Sky. And then let's go ahead and add our good friend Vernon. So go live with Relentless.
Much better, sir.
Okay. I've been trying to use all my fancy gadgets to make this thing like nice and cool, and it like rejects half of my fancy gadgets, which really pisses me off because I'm like, why am I paying all this money for all this fancy cool shit? It's like an Iron Man suit that doesn't actually like work. It's like cleans the room but doesn't fight crime.
I've been I've kind of started to get some of that stuff because with all of this going on, I've been shooting videos in my living room, and my kids are not exactly the best cameramen, and neither is it's tough, man.
I mean, it just pisses me off because it's all like the Apple stuff. So like, obviously these are not the real Apple ones; they're the ghetto ones, which
Right.
I use as like a cosmetic thing for the broadcasts. Except they like kick out after 30 minutes. There's been some interviews where I'm talking to somebody and I'm like, and it gets like, I can't fix it because I'm also the audio guy. So instead, the one that works the best is the stupid headphones that they give me. Because I also have been putting up these chats on our Instagram to our YouTube page. And when I put them there, I try to clean up the sound a little bit. And I think the first one I did with Frosto, it just sounded like I was yelling at people, and I was like, sounded stupid. So, at the very least, we've gotten that. Let's do this. I'm going to first ask you, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great, man. It's kind of like one of those catch-22s of like a lot of my injuries have started to heal, but now I've got like sitting on my butt aches and pains, which is kind of annoying, but I mean, I feel good. My bummer was I actually felt like I was kind of in the best shape, maybe not of my life, but, of a while. And my son, this weekend, as a matter of fact, we were supposed to be flying to Russia. He was going to be competing in a Sambo tournament in Russia.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been pushed off till October, but like we were up at 5 every day lifting. Like I was like, dude, if you're going to go fight the next Khabib in a Sambo tournament, your little butt better be ready.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, it's something to live for. I've been saying we've needed things to live for, so that's a good goal. My recent goal to live now, not for my puppy, not for my family, whatever, screw those things. But right now, my real reason to live is to live to see the Nicolas Cage as Joe Exotic. I think that has given us a new lease on life.
That is so amazing. There couldn't be a better, ask in this world. Like I really don't know how you can get much better than that. I saw it at first. I was like, please don't be a joke. Please don't be a joke. Please don't be a joke.
See, you went that way. I immediately was like, he's broke enough. He's got to do this. Like, he's got so many IRS problems that I'm like, that's okay. I think this plans out. But then I couldn't help but think, like, when we record the cold opens for early late night, everything else I'll do is pretty scripted for the comedy stuff. But the cold opens I try to leave very loose so that it's just me riffing. And as I was riffing, I was like, listen, the most overacting and overdramatic person in the world is being portrayed by, well, literally just that. Like, you couldn't have a better source-to-source translation there. So I've just been laughing at the fact of just imagining, Nicolas Cage on the side just being like, Carol Baskin, you bitch! Like, just going nuts in my head thinking how great that's going to be.
That, and I'm sure a couple of Brokeback Mountain-esque scenes with Nicolas Cage will also be quite entertaining.
Yeah, I didn't quite get the impression on that one. As I was starting to mess around with the voice on that one, I was like, Nah, that's too Keanu. I know with Nick Cage. Nick Cage is that weird Southern draw, and Keanu's just more stoner surfer. Well, sir, tell me what you are drinking. Do you mind showing me what you have in here today?
Absolutely, man. I've got nice local brew from Charlotte, Sycamore double Snuggle, double IPA. Got a nice little kick to it. Um, I think we all have kind of gotten into this realm of we always buy. We're always at Walmart, we're always at Target, and after all of this, one of the biggest things I've been pushing is shop local, and I've been pushing more and more towards that. And there's this, and then there's also a great little brewery up in Monroe that I hit up quite a bit as well too. And it's like one of those ones where I'm like, like I know San Diego is a great beer spot. There's a couple of others out there, but I'll tell you guys what, right now, Charlotte is actually a really good beer spot. It really is. People sleep on it, but they got good stuff.
I believe you. And, I have the opposite problem going on right now because I've got my local brewery. I did the exact same thing when I was like, shop local. Go shop at your local breweries. Help those people out. And I think right now they're like, Raph, we're good. Like, you've done too much. We'll take it from other people, but like, we're cutting you off now. So it's been a great thing. I today am drinking the Stir Crazy Hazy IPA from Boomtown because it just felt like an appropriate drink for a gentleman whose jokes leave it like he's dropped the mic on everybody. So cheers to you, sir. It's good
Cheers
to see
to you, sir. Like I said, I don't think we've done this since 2016 when I was promoting Jiu-Jitsu Theater, the greatest Jiu-Jitsu show nobody ever saw. So
What did you learn from that experience?
people don't read. That's what I learned. It's like one of those ones, like, it was a great concept on paper, but nobody understood it because nobody can take time to read. Because it was basically like, okay, we're going to have a small little tournament, like, 3-man brackets for white and blue, 2-man brackets for purple, show a kung fu movie at intermission, and then 10 like, literally, when I say the best grappling card nobody's ever saw, we announced it the day Gordon Ryan won his first EBI, and it was Gordon Ryan against the local guy who he smashed, but at the time we didn't know fully what Gordon Ryan was. The co-main event was John Calistine and Sean Applegate. The other co-main event was Matt Kaplan and CJ Murdoch, and oh, by the way, Oliver Taza and David Porter also had a match on the card.
All right. Yeah. You know what? Can I maybe give you some insight as to what happened?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Matt Kaplan is like repellent. So like, if whatever the opposite of a draw is, that's him. So that might have scared away a lot of people.
Well, I can understand that. I kind of like Matt, on a certain level of like,
we all like Matt, but you know what?
But
who likes to hear Matt talk more than anybody? Matt.
Well, yeah, and like I said, I love Matt, but like for those who didn't like Matt, that was a good day to tune in.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean,
look, Matt is probably much better at jiu-jitsu than I am, but like CJ is. I train with CJ a lot. CJ is actually one of my buddies. And CJ knew Matt was going to go for legs, and this is back when legs weren't as known as they are now, and all the Danaher guys kind of knew the secret code. And CJ basically shot a double leg, went to mount, and would not let him up. And that's the way the match went.
That's crazy. I mean, did you enjoy putting on an event like that together? Did you feel catharsis from doing it? Like, there's always the step away and kind of, I always tell people, I'm like, don't talk to me the day after. 2 days after, I'll have some sort of clarity as to what just happened.
I'm a big fan of doing stuff like that. Like, as I get older, I turned 42 30 days ago. You know what I mean? And I know I have I can do Masters Worlds probably till the day I die. There'll be a Masters 12 by then, I'm sure. But like, larger competition windows are, I don't have too much longer, in this world, and doing stuff like that's fun. But the biggest issue for like matchmaking is I actually like matchmaking, and I've done some pretty good, I've done some decent work in that department. But the problem is, I'm, I like for me it was really cool at the time too because I was also coming off shoulder surgery. Like I reffed every match, and I look fat as hell in all those pictures because I'd had major shoulder surgery, 3 months before. And I was just kind of getting back into the swing of things. And so it was a good time for me. I just wish it had done better is the biggest, thing with that. But, the thing about jiu-jitsu in general is like everybody wants it to be this really big thing as far as a spectator sport. And it's like, you have to know what's going on. Gi or no gi. I don't care what people tell me. You've got to know what's going on. And if you don't, it just looks like two guys being really weird together. And I understand that. And it's never going to be as mainstream as a lot of people think it should be. But it doesn't mean, I tell people all the time, it's like, my goal isn't to be a multimillionaire. But my goal is to make it where, like, I don't have to have a day job anymore and I can still take care of my family. And that is the type of thing where it's like, there's a lot of avenues to make money in this, but you have to get your name out there first. And that's always the toughest part.
Yeah, I tell people, I'm like, no matter what it is we talk about in jiu-jitsu, it always sounds like we're getting somebody in on the floor of what we're calling a good deal, but it always sounds like a pyramid scheme. It's like, no. Come to our jiu-jitsu class, but bring 2 of your friends if you can. Totally cool. And you know what? Here's the thing. We're going to give you a gi when you show up, and it pays for itself. And it's always like, I always think of it as an outsider when I see the hard sell. So my role, I guess, when I visit gyms or, I'm around at my own gym is I just try to be the guy that levels with them. So the new guy, I'm always like, come roll with me. I'm not going to hurt you. I clearly look like somebody who's pretty chill. But, hey man, here's the deal. Do you really want to do this? Because if you do, it's really dope. And you're going to meet a lot of people and you're going to love it. But if you're lame, then leave now. And here's why. And I just tell people, I'm like, listen, I want you to be here. I think this has done wonders for me. But don't be dummies. Like, don't sit here and not get what this is. Or, try to think that you're going to change everything about it. Like, we like what it is. And we like coming here. We like to train. We know it's good for our brain. We know it's good for our body. So, if you want to join, come in and see why the rest of us are so happy doing this.
Well, and that's kind of how I approach it, and I run the school. And it's, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I've got a damn before and after picture I posted on Instagram maybe 2 weeks ago, and something about it didn't seem right. I was like, man, I'm getting good response, but something doesn't seem right. So I tried to boost it, and I've never boosted anything on my personal account in my life, but it was more like, let me see what happens. My post got rejected because you're not allowed to show before and after pictures, and the after picture was me with my shirt off, and the before picture was a jump drive I had found from like January of 2009 where I was 290 pounds. And I was told it was, when it got rejected, the reason why was it was promoting bad body image. And I'm like, both of those are my body. I fucking earned this.
Oh, God. That's terrible. Like, so I always try to have a very even keel response to things. I think that's part of the reason why we've started doing this kind of as a movement is just being like, listen, guys, I feel for you who have gyms. I really do. I prefer you'd stay closed, but I'm also not dumb enough to know that, this is going to be something that it's going to impact you guys, and it's going to keep everybody on their toes of wondering how and where and when. But for me, I'm like, listen, I think there's a good way to start conversation in terms of having people share their struggles and what they're working with, while at the same time, being realistic about how it hinders those folks who are stuck in a weird place. So I try to have those two minds, and then it just makes me laugh because every once in a while, you'll see something that's like somebody saying like, I can't go run and work out, and how am I supposed to keep up an autoimmune deficiency from all of this if I can't get my workouts in because I can't do jiu-jitsu? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. we got to keep healthy. We got to get that out. So I become immediately sympathetic to, that's a good argument. That's a good argument. Let's work within reason to figure out how somebody can work out, or at least eventually we can get back to training and doing what we all love.
And I agree with you on that, man. And it's like, I agree. Like, so, as much as people like to think, I'm a goofy guy. I'm a really goofy dude. But what a lot of people don't understand is I'm actually kind of intelligent. Like my career before I started doing all this, and I've got a day job that I kind of have to pay bills right now, but I sold high-end microscopes into research facilities for like 15 years. I've been in Aberdeen Proving Grounds chemical warfare facility. I've been on the nuclear sites. I've been into a lot of crazy places. And, I've talked to a couple of my friends who were in research, and there's a lot of things going on right now where it's like this weird catch-22 that we all sit in, because in all honesty, like, my mom is in remission of a second type of cancer after having another type of cancer that is in remission, and also had a hip replacement. So, like, I haven't seen her since February, and she's 2 hours up the road. Why? Because I don't want to drag anything into that house. You know what I mean? I'm not going to bring me and my kids and all that stuff in there, because that's just not right. You know what I mean? But, I also, like, my business partner, for example, he got real sick right before, like, kind of like as things were starting to become shut down. And I wouldn't be surprised, he hasn't had the antibody test yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he tests positive. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like what Tom DeBlas said. And there's a lot of factors here. The biggest bummer for me is it's become more of a political football than it has, let's solve an actual problem. And what I don't like is that. I'm willing to listen to scientists. I'm willing to listen to people who actually know what they're talking about. But I get on social media, and I swear to God, man, if you're not showing dogs, jiu-jitsu, or a big ass, or something funny, I'm not paying attention to you.
Just not your big ass. You can post anybody else's big ass, apparently, but showing your body, apparently, is Facebook being like, whoa, hey,
well, it was
easy
Instagram,
there, slut.
Yeah. Oh, and it's I joke, and I'm like, I saw it because I was like, just something doesn't seem right, because I posted a couple of others, and one of them had actually used the same after pic, and like I said, I saw it, and I was like, this is weird. Like, let me do this just for fun. Let me see what happens. And like I said, I screenshotted all of it. I was like, I had to. But, what I want, like, the thing about, like, this, like, I'm a very pessimistic person about certain things. Like, if you sit there and you tell me about, how this pyramid scheme is going to change your life financially, I'm going to laugh in your face. You tell me about this bullshit diet, I'm going to laugh in your face. But the cool thing about, like, the one positive I'm hoping from all of this, and this is directed to most people, is I really, really, really hope that a lot of people, if you would ask anybody 6 months ago, what is one of your ideas of heaven? A lot of them would say, sitting on my couch watching Netflix. Well, you're in heaven right now, aren't you? And I'm hoping that a lot of these people, man, like, really kind of pull it out a little bit, and they go, oh, well, that one thing I wanted to go do, let me go do it. You know what I mean? Like, I made that decision. Like, I always tell people, like, everybody's like, well, man, like, I get all these questions, like, did you start working out before you started training? I'm like, let me tell you something. I took my kid to a judo class. He was 5. He had a couple of friends in the class. He had a good time. He was looking to do a martial art. I just took him because he was 5 and he needed to do something, and he didn't like soccer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the instructor looked at me, the guy who gave me my black belt in judo, he looked at me and he goes, hey, we were talking. I was like, okay, next class is tomorrow. Cool, blah, blah, blah. How much is it? And he goes, hey, the adult class is starting, right? I'm like, you think my 5-year-old's ready for the adult class? Sweet.
I was.
Shut up, Liam. What's up, Liam?
How you doing?
But, and I said, he goes, come on, big boy, get your ass out here. Okay. And I did it at first like, well, I'm going to do this so my kid does it. And once he gets ingrained in it, I'm going to fade into the distance. Well, 2 months later, we both competed.
That social distancing didn't work.
At the end of the year, like the guys who were like a little bit like, 6 months ahead of me when I started, like one belt ahead of me in judo. I was beating them on their feet, but when we got to the ground, they were still killing me. And I'm like, how are you guys still killing me on our feet? I mean, on the ground. They're like, oh, well, in Mebane, there's this fourth degree black belt from Rio.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu there. Take me. So December of 2009, I started taking Jiu-Jitsu. And I was probably 270 at that point because I'd lost some weight. And in November, I was like, man, I've plateaued. This sucks. Why am I not losing any more weight? Well, I started in June in judo gis, which are obviously a lot thicker, in the South with no air conditioning. So I sweat my ass off. And so I started taking jiu-jitsu. And then, so it was like 6 days a week of training, like for years. And I didn't think anything of it. And it wasn't like I set out with this goal. I'm going to lose 90, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No. I just got addicted like a damn crackhead, and I just kept going. That's it. That's all it takes. I wrote a blog a couple of years ago. Like, I ran health clubs in my younger days. And I wrote this blog, and I said, okay, so it's January 1st. You're now going to, you know what food you're supposed to eat, and you're supposed to exercise. Because of this magical calendar day, you're now going to completely change all that. You're going to start eating all that food you're supposed to be eating, and you're going to start working out even though you hate it. What's wrong with that plan? How could that fail? No, the goal is find something simple. Find something you love. If you like to cook, start cooking healthier food. If you like to work out, find something, walk, play tennis, swim, jiu-jitsu. I don't care. Pick something. And what happens is you get addicted. And you're like, oh, well, how can I make this better? Well, I'm running right now. If I had weights, that would probably help. Okay, we had weights. Cool. All right, well, if I cleaned up my diet, maybe I'd lose a little bit of weight. I'd get a little faster. Okay. And that's all it is. Like, this was changes over time. I mean, it's not like I did something stupid and crazy. No, I just paid more attention. I did trial and error. I found out what worked on me. And that is what a lot of people miss. And this is why jiu-jitsu is so cool, because once you get hooked, you won't stop. You just won't. I've got so many people. It's so weird, man. Like, I started posting stuff probably right about the time you and I really started talking, because I didn't really do a whole lot on social media before that. And I'm around 4,000 followers. I do this, I do that. I get messages from people all the time like, I've lost 50 pounds because of you. I've done this. I'm like, because of me? Really? Okay. Cool. It's just weird. I don't get it. But at the same time, I'm glad, because everybody needs that thing. And that's what I think so many people are missing. And that's what I'm hoping this does for people before I went off on a total rant. But find your thing. Find your thing. I don't care what it is. Find it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the first couple weeks, I went through this thing of, all right, I need to get to work. I'm a workaholic. I don't my job was like, all right, we're taking a break. I'm working on a show right now, and you can't make a show if you can't show up. So
Right.
all of us were just like, okay, cool. And I'm not short on projects. So for me, I'm just sitting there going well, what do I attack first? And what ended up happening was, those first 2 weeks, I think I just sat back and I saw other people doing shows and all that sort of stuff. And I saw my normal stuff that I usually do. The internet bandwidth went down because so many people were sucking it dry that I said, I can't even do my normal shtick. That's what I want to do. I wanted to be back up and operational and start doing it. And then I started seeing, everybody was doing their shows, and I just said, I was like, I got to figure out what I want to do. I always figure out something that's different than everybody else. And I don't feel good until I figure out what my hook is or my angle is. And, at first I think it was Stephen Kesting and I, we did a show together, and we talked about it honestly, about why people should shut down. And at that point, I was like, 2 weeks, I hate not training, but I can do 2 weeks. And then that 2 weeks started to extend. And then I started to see, maybe 2 weeks after that, I was getting an idea of what to do, but I saw people's patience starting to wane. And when I see patience starting to wane, I realize, like, okay, the conversation's getting beyond what is healthy. The conversation is now having detrimental effects to other people and how they communicate with each other. That I said, if I just do my thing, but I find a way to put a little bit of a spin of humanity and the ability to communicate in a good way, then I feel like I'm contributing. Better use of my time, other than being like, hey, dum-dum, what's your fight? What do you got? What are you promoting here this week? I was like, I can do all those things, but if I start with an intention of, hey, listen, yo, crazy person who owns a gym, talk to us. Yo, smart person who may be being overprotective, talk to us. Like, and I really feel like even today, and I think you saw part of it, just today talking with Chris Moriarty,
Yep.
was like, hey, dude, this is the most comprehensive thing I've seen. This is somebody explaining with good reasons and the ability of sound logic and saying, like, I'm not forcing you to do shit. You can pick what you want to do. But if I were to make recommendations and I were a gym owner, I'd do this. And at the very end of the whole chat that we had one person in the comment section who just goes, you're going to cost gyms all this money. And I'm like, bro, no one's authorizing this man to take over your gym and make you do it. He's literally just given his time to tell you something. And I got news for you. If you're one of the people who's complaining in my comment section, you are one of those people who's not pushing us forward. And I want to get back to training.
And I agree with you completely. And one of my best friends, and she's a former coworker. She has 2 chemical engineering degrees and a PhD in biomedical engineering. And she was very behind a lot of the quarantine and things like this. And right now she's kind of like, you know what, we didn't do it right from the jump. So at this point, it kind of is what it is. And I understand that. And it's hard when you have this many people with, you know, that many varying opinions and so much, like, when I know you're younger than me, but I know we're at least semi-close in age.
Sure. you could throw a rock and it'd be in the same decade, I'm sure.
Right. But like, I know when, like, a lot of us were younger, it was like, you know, before the internet, it was like, man, if we just had access to all this information. The problem is now there's so much access to information that you only look for what you agree with. So many people don't read both sides. I can argue both sides of most arguments, whether I believe it or not, just because I understand both sides of the argument. What most people miss is the answer is somewhere in the middle. Like, if the answer is complete shutdown or open everything back up, probably not that. I'm like, the one thing I will say, and like the reason I'm pushing the kind of Save Jiu-Jitsu thing, it's not really for me personally. The good news I have, and it's kind of a, you know, I'll laugh and cry at the same time type of thing, but as broke as I've always been over the course of my life, I run everything on a shoestring budget, and right now it's like, you know, I'm okay, but that's because, you know, I've got a great, you know, I've got a big facility, I've got good mats, I've got all those things, but I don't have a lot of overhead. Like, but like, I don't know if you ever heard the name John Piper. You know, in Charlotte Jiu-Jitsu Academy, knock on wood, there was talk about him doing a complete crucifix series on BJJ Fanatics, and as a man who has been in his crucifix multiple times, I can tell you if there's anybody better out there, I'd love to see it. But, you know, he just moved into a brand new facility. And, like, the thing about that guy is he wants to be BJJ Switzerland. He has this open mat every Saturday, and there's like 75 people, 15, 20 different gyms. Like, it's an amazing thing to see. And to think that, like, somebody like that who's, A, friend, but B, who is just that good of a person is in trouble, that's the type of stuff that bothers me. And, like, I've got a friend down so, you know, obviously it's state by state. So, like, Columbia, like South Carolina, for example, is kind of opening up relatively quickly right now, like as Georgia did. And I've got a friend who owns a gym down there, Lycan Mixed Martial Arts, like the werewolf, like And he's actually putting on at the end of this month a Christian woodmancy seminar. A, to help out Christian, but also B, they're actually going to take some of the proceeds and try to find a place to donate them to help out academies that are struggling.
That's cool.
And exactly, and that's the type of thing. Like, I'm going to be there with bells on. I'd buy depending on how my work schedule is, I'll try to make it down there Friday to buy a private from Christian. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to do my best. You know what I mean? It just, that's the type of thing where it's like the funny thing is, it's like, you have the Gordon Ryans of the world who's obviously gone out there and earned it and is balling, at least in a jiu-jitsu perspective. Compare him to an NFL player. You know what I'm saying? But hey, you know what? It's glad to see somebody's at least pushing 6-7 figures in the jiu-jitsu world. You know what I mean? But like, this is a very much kind of like a crowdfunding type of thing. We all have to support each other because, you might get, like your buddies from high school to buy your T-shirt or something like that, but they're not going to buy a pay-per-view that you're on because they have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to explain this to people too, but I mean, I always think of it like this. So I'm reading in the trades here in entertainment that they had to shut down theaters, which makes sense. No big deal. Get it. And then they say release Trolls. Trolls was a big success on video on demand, makes $100 million. That's a success, right?
No, give me another one.
Yep. What it ends up being is a success until you get the stars who have back-end deals, like Justin Timberlake, who say, pay me. And you're like, well, wait, hold on. We don't know how much money we're going to make at all off of this. Now take that same idea, and that being a success of $100 million, where people are going to argue over it. And granted, it costs a lot of money, and I get that. And understand that in jiu-jitsu, every single person who is a student pays a certain amount per month. And yet, that's for a service. That's for an ability to use a facility. And so when 2 or 3 of those people don't make that money, that's just the overhead that gyms are doing to stay alive. This isn't Justin Timberlake coming in and saying, hey, give me 20%. This is our gym owner saying, like, listen, we're in a bind here. You have to pay us to stay open. And if you can't do it, I get it. But also don't expect us to be around. Right. So to me, it's kind of this never-ending set of spinning plates, which is, we've been just trying to say this as much as possible, which is, you write down the names of 3 people, places, things that you can go ahead and support. If it's financial, please do it. If you can do financial, make it social. If it can't be social, at the very least, check in on your people. Like, there's 1,000 different jobs that a lot of these places don't know. Jay Page just had a really good, insightful thing that he told me, which is, he's like, dude, I got a CPA to help me out. He's like, I got a CPA because I need to do all the loan stuff, and it's stuff that's way easier. And I realized, okay, he's in a pretty good place. He could do a CPA. But if your gym has a CPA, why not use one of those people? So everybody who has these skills and talents that always like, oh, I'm just a civilian. It's like, no, you're going to be the life force of us now. Like, you are the brick and mortar. So never, ever let the people who say, I'm just a civilian in jiu-jitsu, say that right now. Like, if anything, they're going to be the people that we need to lean on as to not only support us, but who have these other skills that can be very, 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 very important as we move forward. So, one of the things I've been trying to do is I'm asking people to talk about their gyms and their situations, and I get it. Things look okay for you. But I think it's really important to paint the picture of what is it that you feel that you need. Because I don't know that people get asked that in terms of gym owners all that often. So what is it that you as a gym owner would benefit or need the most at this time right now?
Right now, for me personally, the biggest thing is just, I've got an Instagram page. Go follow it. I'm posting tutorials. I'm posting daily workouts. Like, I'm doing stuff right now because normally I'd like to post a lot more stuff, but I don't have time. You know, my schedule before quarantine was I was up at 5, more like 4:30. My son and I were in the gym at 5. You know, I'm on the road heading to work, off at 5, pick him up, go straight to the gym, teach 2 classes, go home. That's the type of grind a lot of instructors have. And we don't do it because we're getting paid. We're doing it because, in the words of Tom Petty, we're running down a dream. That's all we're doing. So support us. That's it. Like our stuff. Follow our pages. If we've got something, buy it. Like, just stupid stuff like that. When we reopen, show up to class. Have fun. Like, that's all any of us need. Like, one of the things I'm doing, I've been putting on this off for a couple of weeks because I was hoping that one of the people I work with would get their Instagram together, but they haven't. But starting next week, I'm actually running a giveaway off of my personal Instagram page. And I've already got equipment from Retro Grappling Gear, Jack Monkey Grooming Products, Back to the Grind Coffee, Schismatic Industries, Senior Kimonos, Civil Savage Tees, and I've got a couple of other companies I'm talking to. They're like friends of mine. You know what I mean? I just haven't had a chance to talk to them yet. I'm not asking any of them to give me, like, some of them have, offered, like, I'll just give you something. And I'm like, okay, but, Supernatural Survival Gear, Kent Peters is another one. I love that man. And he's got some of the best tutorials on Instagram and YouTube. If you guys don't follow him, you should. But I'm basically giving away stuff from all those places that I'm personally buying myself unless they've donated, because I want people to understand some of these smaller companies and to support some of these guys. And, is it a little bit of karma for myself? Yeah, of course. But I've also, I've been struggling and just had, somebody out of nowhere come in and help me. And with a lot of these companies, like, I like their stuff. I mean, Jesus, I won this from Retro Grappling Gear. I also got a Ren and Stimpy rash guard out of the deal, which matches my competition undies, so that helps. But, like, there's a lot of these companies out there that, one of my favorite memes that's floating around right now is the one that says, hey, that local business you've leaned on for, like, fundraisers and sports programs, they need you right now. And that's the way I feel about a lot of these companies. I'll give you an example, and I just haven't had a chance to talk to him about this yet, but Cage Side MMA / Toro BJJ. Boomer is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. He does look like Dale Jr., but hey, not everybody's perfect. But like 2 or 3 times a year, there was actually supposed to be a card last month, and it got canceled. And I was going to be making my black belt debut, but, like, they run these super fights where they basically, like, all the proceeds go to charity. So when my instructor had his stroke, my instructor had a massive stroke back in 2017, and I mean, he was at Duke Hospital for a week before they moved him to UNC, and that bill was $200,000 to give you an idea. And exactly. And so the next Toro Cup that was coming up after that, my friend John Shell and I messaged him, and we go, hey, man, you're always picking charities for Toro Cups. Can we do Professor for the next one? We got a response 5 seconds later. Well, yeah. Okay. Not only that, we had like 10 of his students on the card.
Nice.
Like, that's what they do. And, like, it's businesses like that keep this thing we do afloat. Fuji's cool. BJJ Fanatics is cool. I have a ton of their stuff. I love them. I'm not talking any shit right now. Having said that, Kent Peters, Supernatural Survival Gear, Toro BJJ, Ranger Up, Retro Grappling. These are the people that keep us afloat as well, too. And if you forget about those types of people in this time, I always joke with people. I'm like, I've got Lucas Lepery probably 20 minutes down the road from me. That's his gym. And, like, look, yeah, Lucas Lepre knows more about jiu-jitsu than I ever will. And like, if you go to Lucas Lepre over me, I get it. I'm never gonna make an argument against it. Having said that, like, there is so much you like. My instructor's a 6-degree black belt. He got his black belt originally from one of Carlos Senior's oldest sons. And, I've had the opportunity to train with him and with Joe Moreira. And the stuff, just the little things that those guys do to fix your game.
Mm.
And, if you haven't heard of Joe Moreira, you probably should. Like, just from a jiu-jitsu history standpoint, a lot of people don't know he actually had the first jiu-jitsu federation in the U.S. But like, there's so much there that you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's really cool. Like, look, I've got a bunch of Danaher videos, and Danaher is amazing. Like, again, that man is, he's Patrick Swayze incarnate from Roadhouse. Like, he is. There's not enough that can be said about John Danaher, but some people just aren't there yet. And there's a lot of things that some of these guys you've never heard of can teach you. And that's where a lot of people, I think, screw up in a lot of this.
Yeah.
So,
well,
that's.
I mean, here's the thing. I've gotten to a point where I've started looking at how, when we do come back, we start evaluating these things. And, one of the things I thought about was I can't wait to go visit gyms and do interviews with people. Because I think that's something that I do well, and I can always paint a picture of this is the vibe I get when I come here. I then immediately realized, I was like, I don't think I can go yet. I think it might be a while before I can actually be invited into places. So it's like, I think it's really just taken us to a place of, even the things that I think I'm good at, that lend and shed a light, I'm like, no, it really is going to come down to communicating like this, or reminding people to do those things, because we're not going to see those videos unless you know who they are. And to me, I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, so I think that's when I started making the movement to more so like, if I'm not going to be able to go to gyms for a while in a safe way, some people might invite me and just be like, yo, dude, come down to our syphilis dungeon. Like, what?
I mean, I may or may have not been to a few secret open mats. I'm not going to say one way or the other.
I mean, it's difficult because I feel like, I don't know that I'm trying to shame people as much as I'm trying to arm them with information. I'm arm them with stories, arm them with narratives of the people who are actually struggling. So
Right.
Information from the people who are in the line of fire and can read and interpret that language better than most of us can. And then at the same point, the practical side of me saying like, okay, dude, tell me what's wrong with you. Like, what is this? And how does that work? And I think the other lace and enlightening thing is, Jay Pages, when I interviewed him the other day, he was like, dude, I don't charge mat fees. I don't believe in it. I know that personally because every time I went to Arizona, he'd just be like, no, you're just come. Just come. You're in town. You're visiting. I want you to feel a vibe. So to me, it felt nice where at the end I could explain to him, I'm like, Jay, part of the reason I get to do stuff like this is because of people like you who open their doors.
Yep.
And I don't know that I would feel inspired. I mean, there's a lot of Netflix I could be catching up on and just being a shitbag and crying until I get to go train too. But there is something I think that compels those of us who have voices, who maybe get an idea of, oh, okay, what did who say today? And how did they say it? And what is the comment section doing at this point? And saying, there's just a better way to live.
No, and I agree with you completely. And the thing is, hush, Alice. Sorry, my dog decided she wanted to talk to.
It's perfectly fine.
But my thing is, like, I will say this, like, you and I have always traded barbs and joked around. But I will say this. There's two things that I'm in the process of doing, and I will say you are part of the inspiration for it, Mr. Esparza. Number one, I've got my own podcast I'm kind of kicking off here very soon with a friend of mine who's helped put on Pro-Jitsu and things like that. He's the owner of Pro-Jitsu. We have a pretty decent name for it, too. I'm kind of proud of it. It's Dos Gringos Porrada.
God.
I knew you were gonna love that.
It's just
It's
like
so bad. It's so bad. I
it's
know.
just listen, dude. I hit the pager, and I've yet to find one person who's brought me a better name than Verbal Tap on a
Oh,
podcast name. But the worst part about that is when I had to create a spinoff of Verbal Tap, I was like, what the hell am I going to call this thing? And I was like, I don't know. And then I kept explaining to people. I was like, I kind of want it to be like you show up like you did on Ariel Hawani's old show. It's kind of like the fuck it, the Grappling Hour. That's what we're going to call it, just so
yep.
people know real quick. And people started giving me stuff. They're like, hey, bro, I just want to let you know. You really hit pager with Verbal Tap, but Grappling Hour is so-so. And I was like, you fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, I did it once. I'm good.
Dude, look, exactly. And then the other thing is, I'm actually trying my hand at stand-up comedy as well.
Look at you.
Hey, man, it's something I've actually wanted to do since I was a kid. I remember sixth grade graduation. I went up there and I basically stole some shit from Robin Williams and I forget who the other person was. Maybe it was George Carlin, and cleaned it up quite a bit. And that's what I did for my talent. Absolutely.
I mean, first of
Mm.
all, anybody who does memes, it's not a surprise. At
Yep.
some point, I see you guys come our way, and I understand that. So, same thing with podcasts too. Usually, half of these guys are now trying to brand themselves to having podcasts as well. More power to them. I would say this. What's really interesting that you can do right in the immediate is
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of these places, these same things happening in comedy, where you
Mm-hmm.
can't go live, so you can't see. They're doing all these Zooms and they're doing
Yep.
live comedy nights. If I were you, I would get in that mic time now because I'll tell you something. Doing stuff like this,
Mm-hmm.
where it's you and me talking, it translates to stage when you work that muscle. So part of the reason why I always feel very confident about my ability to be live and not worry too much is because of the training I have, like from different comedy clubs. So it's like there's never going to be an athlete that's going to throw me off that badly
No.
because they will never be worse than a heckler who's 5 beers in who can't make a coherent sentence that you're like, dude, shut the fuck up, or I'm gonna like ruin your life. You know what I mean? Like, so
The,
I would take that, man.
Well, and I mean, for me, it was, A, it's something I've always wanted to do. And then B, when you don't have a college degree and you're sitting there explaining cutting edge microscopy technology to some of the best biologists in the world, and they pepper you with questions and you're good on your feet.
Hey, listen, dude, it's great, man. I tell people, I got to a place where we were starting to do the live early late night stuff again. And I love doing it. It's sitting down. Now I've got a whole green screen. I've got
Oh,
things
yeah.
that are like nice little tricks that I can do editing wise that I didn't have 7 years ago. But I was like, what it really takes to make you miss it is to not have an audience. Like to be told you can have an audience and then not have one. So I can do these digital shows all day, but the minute we were starting to do them and I didn't have a live audience in front of me, I was like, oh, now I miss it. And now I beg for people to like show up to try and heckle me at a live club.
Yep.
So I was like, for me, I see somewhere down the line once we get back to normal or whatever new normal it may be. I'm like, dude, I want to do a live show again. It's just we gotta
Yep.
wait. We gotta
No, we
figure that
absolutely
out.
have to, and I get that. And I mean, the only two things I'm really bucking for right now, in all honesty, is Seth just put a bunch of cards out. I put in for Philly, so Seth Daniels, if you're
Cool.
watching, hook a brother up,
Can
and
guarantee you he's not watching this.
I can
1,000,000%.
I'm sure he's not, but it's worth a shot.
Hey, shoot your shot. Do what you need to do. If this gets you on a card, perfectly fine. But
Well, the other,
go on.
well, I was gonna say the other one I want, and like I'm the king of this, where it's like, you wake up in the morning and you're still kind of out of it and you're going to get in the shower and you have random thoughts running through your head. I want Chael Sonnen in a gi.
Okay, let's chat about this. Why do you think that you should get a match with Chael Sonnen?
Well, I think in a gi I actually have a shot. I'm not saying I'm going to win, but here's the thing. It's like this. If you don't shoot your shot, if you don't ask, closed mouths don't get fed. And in all honesty, there's just, I don't know. I woke up one morning, I'm like, I think I can do this. I know I'm absolutely positively fucking insane. I'm not the,
Yeah, I know.
I know. But you know what? Here's the thing. If he beats me, he beats me. Okay, cool. If I beat him and he wants a no-gi match, I'm good with that. If he beats me no-gi and we're 1-1, we'll do a sambo match. I'm good with that too. I don't care. I really don't.
The
I,
amount of detail that you have put into this. If we somehow draw at the end of that, then we're going to play chess. And then at the end of that, we will go to a win, lose, or draw. Then we will play the Eliminator from American Gladiators. And then at the very end of that, Final Jeopardy, if it really comes down to it.
and if Final Jeopardy doesn't work, we'll go rock, paper, lizard, spot.
Bro, here's what I would say. Here's how I would refine that pitch. I would, if I were you, and this is me spitballing, marketing
No.
genius, it's fine. I would look at Chael Sonnen and I'd say, Chael, you seem very unproven in the gi. And I have been working my ass off, not just in the gi, but I wear it also as a symbol of Sambo. Something you might not understand. I get it. You do wrestling, which is, I guess, okay. But Chael, I mean, here's the thing. The most prominent thing you've done in any form of grappling has been the following two things. One, almost submitting Anderson Silva, which always is a nice mark. And two, let's just remind you of this. Your other notable achievement in grappling is losing to Craig Jones in 30 seconds at ADCC. I mean, I just want to say, Chael, and this is me speaking, of course, as Vernon, not as Raph Esparza. Yeah. Chael, if you want to redeem yourself, I'm offering you the opportunity. The issue is, I guess I have to ask you, is the guy who sits behind the sign that says Bad Guy Inc. really bad guy enough to take me on? Or is he going to be bad guy enough to just be the guy who doesn't accept challenges and just sits back now? See, I would say something like that.
That's kind of the thought I had, but you said it much clearer than my dumb ass probably could.
Here's the beautiful part. I speak fluent in professional wrestling heel language.
Yep.
So that I think it is important when you do specify this, because I'm not doing this because I'm like, oh, that doesn't make any sense, because we don't know what he's got, and he's a great wrestler, so that's fun, and obviously he's got a very storied MMA career. But the weird part is inspiring the guy who looks just fine sitting on the couch. This is how you know when someone's retired. In MMA, they sit on that couch kind of like this. Like,
oh, yeah.
Hey, man, I'm good. If someone just wants to bring me a drink, if it's a pina colada, that'd be even better. Like, that's how Chael strikes me now.
Well, and I agree with you on that. And the funny thing is, man, like, when you brought up the Anderson Silva thing, so shortly thereafter the Anderson Silva loss was the UFC in Atlanta, John Jones versus Rashad. So I was a blue belt at the time, and me, my instructor, and a couple of my friends went down to watch it. And there's this great picture somewhere on Facebook of my instructor and Chael together. And first of all, the amount of hate, because that was back when all the Brazilians hated Chael, the amount of hate that was written in Portuguese on that picture, I didn't need Google Translate to understand. Okay, but the funniest thing about it was my instructor just, at 50-something years old, blah, 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 walks up, hands Chael Sonnen his business card and goes, Porra, Chael, I teach you no good caught triangle, man. You come see me. And Chael took it on the chin like a fucking champion. I got to give the man credit. He was like, that's probably not a bad idea.
I mean, the other thing to consider here that we were joking about, I think somebody brought this up either in one of our chats or one of our over-unders. They were like, man, Chael's really pushing for these 4 rounds in MMA. He's thinking we need to do 4 rounds. We don't need that 5th round. That's just going to hurt fighters. And I was like, says the dude who almost submitted Anderson Silva and lost in the 5th round. That's the reason he doesn't like a 5th round. That's a pretty easy to solve one. You kids who try to do conspiracy theories, that's a much easier to follow line of thought.
I mean, that is damn Skippy, the damn reason right there. And the thing is, like I said, I don't know why I get these random thoughts in my head, but I had somebody say to me the other day, they were like, well, how do you like do the stuff that you do? Like, it seems like you end up on all these cards and you do this and you do that. I'm like, I'm dumb enough to ask for them. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, everybody goes, well, how'd you end up on 3 Fight to Wins last year? I applied.
Yeah.
They're like, really? And I'm like, I applied a lot. I'm a little bit of a unicorn. I'm,
Hey, man.
you know,
There's something to be said about well, I was just going to say, there's something to be said about apply and deliver. I'm sure if
Yep.
you're bringing in the numbers and you back up what you're going to say, they start to take notice. I mean, there's a weird difference between apply and hope for the best, or apply, hope for the best, deliver, show how you can deliver, promise you're going to deliver, and then re-deliver more than you delivered. Like, that's a lot of the secret to a lot of these guys getting on, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, yeah, I'm 2-1. I lost one in Arizona, and I got a little, injured in the match, but whatever. I don't give a shit. Like, if the guy wants a rematch, I'd absolutely take it. But like, my thing is this, man. You know, I'm lucky because I also have the judo black belt, and I actually prefer the fight to win rules over the shitty judo rules. Like, I love judo, the martial art. Judo, the sport, can kiss my ass. Like seriously, like, those rules suck. And judo guys hate me for it. They hate me for saying that. I don't care. I was possibly at a secret open mat with like 6 other black belts and a bunch of other stuff on Sunday. And I said, you know what? And like, I never really thought of it like this, but I threw this out there. I said, here's the thing. I don't think I'm really good at judo. I don't think I'm really good at jiu-jitsu. I've got black belts in both, but I don't know how good I am in either one. But I will tell you this. I'm really good at taking judo matches and turning them into jiu-jitsu matches. And I'm really good at taking jiu-jitsu matches and turning them into judo matches.
Bro, that's like having a good guard pull. I mean,
Yep.
it's important when you need to have it. Like, especially when you see people in IBJJF matches who just butt heads and move each other back and forth. And then you look at one of them and you're like, if one of you has a good guard pull, we could be out of here and getting food in like 2 minutes. But like, you guys want to be dicks and pretend like you're wrestlers for a little bit.
So,
Hey, real quick.
yes, sir.
We are down to our last 2 minutes.
Cool.
So, here's what I need you to do.
Okay.
Floor is yours. Promote your shit. Tell the people where they can find you. All that good stuff, my friend.
Absolutely. So, on Twitter, Facebook, or let me say Twitter and Instagram, I'm Jiu-Jitsu Dad Bod because, well, I kind of have a dad bod, but I kind of don't. I'm Vernon Kirk as well. Just search that. But I got a Facebook page, Vernon Captain Kirk, and of course my standard personal one. My gym, Relentless NC. That's all it is. Relentless NC everywhere. We moved out of Indian Trail, so we're no longer Indian Trail BJJ. We're Relentless NC, Relentless Martial Arts. That is everywhere. The cool thing about my Instagram page, and I try to do it on Facebook, but Facebook is really weird about posting multiple videos and things like that. I don't know why, but it's freaking annoying. But I post daily workouts. I post technique, things like that. And my goal with all of it is I just want to kind of show you guys something a little different. One of the things that really helped me a lot last year, I want to say, or the year before, I was taking a gym wear instructor's course at my instructor's gym. It was a seminar of his last year. And he goes, Verno, you know secret? What, Joe? 80% of what I do, I learned my judo coach. And I've got, do I think my judo, like, if I were to go out and do national judo tournaments right now, would I do well? Maybe, maybe not. But I will tell you this much right now. My judo for jiu-jitsu, I'll put up against anybody. I may not be able to.
Well, that's a good place to leave it. We got 3 seconds. Vernon, thank you so much.